He's the Hall of Fame coach, Football Night in America analyst, won a Super Bowl as head coach of the Colts, won a Super Bowl as a player with the Steelers. You know what? Let me start there, Tony Dungy. Give me the Steeler defender who made you nervous. He scared you.
The Steeler defender who made me or other people nervous?
Well, both.
Well, two. I'll have to start with two. Ernie Holmes was the one who made everybody else nervous. He was a great player. He was not a real stable person. And when he turned it on, he could dominate a game. Now, the guy who made me nervous was Jack Lambert. The very first, my rookie year, Lambert was holding out. So we're in the fourth preseason game. He's coming back. First time I met him, first time I'm in the huddle in practice. And he looks at me and he gives me the call. We break the huddle. He said, now, you know, when we play on Saturday, I won't have my teeth in. So you may not be able to understand it. If you can't understand me, tap me on the shoulder and I'll give you the hand signal. And I'm thinking, what? You won't have your teeth in? But he was a mess. That we had some characters on that defense. Now.
But, you know, the Raiders are given credit for having those personalities. Did Pittsburgh have it? They just didn't flaunt it the way the Raiders did?
That's exactly right. Coach Noel was great. He didn't he didn't sterilize the group, but he said, you've got to be yourself, but on the field, off the field, we've got to have a little bit of discipline. And so we had some guys. I mean, Joe Green wasn't named Mean Joe Green for nothing. Jack was crazy. Ernie Holmes was different. Dwight White was very different. Mel Blount, we had some tough guys, and they had some different personalities. Frenchie Fuqua, maybe the most flamboyant guy in the league.
Okay, did he have shoes that had goldfish in the heel? Like he had glass bottom shoes?
The goldfish were gone by the time I got there. I read about that. I never saw them, but I did see him come in on a Friday morning for practice, just in shorts and T-shirt and flip-flops, and he had a garment bag over his shoulder. After practice, he was going out on Friday night, and it was a tuxedo outfit, matching cape, matching cane, matching hat. I mean, it was just unbelievable. But that was a crew. It was a group.
Give me a Mean Joe Green story.
Joe used to tell us, he used to get very mad at guys who got personal foul penalties for retaliation. So you can't let a guy get to you like that. There's ways you can retaliate. You have to keep yourself under control and retaliate while the play is going somewhere down the line. You can't fight during, when the clock is stopped or when the officials are looking. And we're out in Denver, and Denver had an offensive guard named Paul Howard who Joe thought was holding him. He turned around to the umpire right behind him and gave the best line I've ever heard. He said, if you don't stop this guy from holding me, you're going to go to jail because I'm going to kill him and you're going to go as accessory to a murder. And then he proceeded. 2 plays later, he hit Paul Howard in the stomach with a body punch that knocked him out during the play. And I think he got fined afterwards, but never penalized for it.
But when he did the Mean Joe Green Coca-Cola commercial, that changed everything, it felt like.
Lambert was so mad at him after that. He said, you're done. You're through. We have no more of the real Joe Green. We've got this fake Joe Green now. And I don't know if we can win another Super Bowl.
I mean, we didn't even talk about the offense here, Tony, because you had Terry Bradshaw. He joins us next hour. But, I mean, Terry was a little wacky. He was not as wacky as he is now. Or was he wacky then?
No, he was. He would do the interviews after the game. And back then, there were different stations, and they would come to you one at a time. And he'd laugh. He'd say, I'm going to tell them something different, every single one. So they'd, tell me about this touchdown pass to Swan. And he'd tell Channel 7, well, I came up with that play. And I did this and tell a whole long 2-minute story. And then Channel 9 would come and he'd say, yeah, Star Wars suggested that play. And I would think to myself, don't you realize all of these are going to eventually be shown? And it's going to, seem like you don't know what you're doing. But he was so funny. One of my best Terry Bradshaw memories, you have to ask him about it. Back in the day, we used to have a payphone only at the end of the hallway in the dorm. There was no cell phones or that. So you had to wait in line for the payphone. Bradshaw was on the phone one night with a whole line of people waiting on the phone. He's on there for 2 hours buying a horse on the phone that he had never seen before. Somebody's describing it to him, and how much should I pay for this horse? And is it fast? And is it going to win the Kentucky Derby? And we're all sitting there. Hey, I got to talk to my girlfriend. I got to talk to my wife, and he's buying a horse.
We're talking
on the phone.
Talking to Tony Dungy, the Hall of Famer, Football Night in America analyst. All right, I'm going to make you the defensive coordinator for the Buccaneers. You're Todd Bowles.
Yep.
What do you want the Chiefs to do?
I want them to have to throw 10 passes on a drive to score. I don't want to see the 75-yard bomb to Tyreek Hill. I don't want to see the 40-yard pass to Travis Kelce. Now, I think I've got a little edge in this game that I didn't have in the last game, because last time we played them, now they don't have their left tackle. And that's a critical injury, because what Kansas City has to do, that really hurts them at three positions. Now the right tackle has moved over to left tackle. He's not as good as Fisher. Okay, the right guard had to move to right tackle. He's not as good as the right tackle. And then the backup right guard is in. So they're weaker at three positions in the offensive line. So I'm telling all my guys, Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaq Barrett, and Ndamukong Suh, Golston, you guys have to win the game. We can't blitz and leave our guys one-on-one. You guys have to beat this banged-up offensive line and put some pressure on Mahomes. That's how we're going to win the game.
All right, you're Steve Spagnuolo. Now what are you going to do as the defensive coordinator with the Chiefs? What do you want the Buccaneers to do?
Got to pressure Tom Brady up inside, and we've got to cover tight, not let him throw the ball quick and get rid of it. Rodney Harrison has been beside me for 12 years telling me that's how you have to play Tom. You got to pressure him. You got to bang the receivers so he can't throw it quick. So that means Chris Jones, you got to have a big game, pass rushing inside. We may send some blitzes inside, defenders, a lot of bump and run coverage. We might be even okay if they throw one deep ball, but we're not going to let Tom just get in that rhythm of 8 or 10 balls in a row, just short, quick, get it out of his hand. We've got to pressure him.
I was also wondering about this, that, we talk about quarterbacks and sometimes we'll say, boy, Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback. But here's Brady, who is not the most talented. It's not like he's slowing down because he was never fast enough to slow down. He still does what he's been doing for a long time, but can you teach pocket presence?
Not really. You either have it or you don't. He has it. Mahomes has great pocket presence and can move around and feel people around him. Tom does the same thing. He can see people around him, feel people around him, and still keep his eyes down the field. He knows when he's got to get rid of the ball. He's great. And if you have him on rhythm, he's as good as anybody who's ever played. And now he's got probably a better receiving core than he's had since that 2007 group with Randy Moss and Welker. I mean, he's got some talented guys. So what he's done this year, without the benefit of the timing and all the offseason program and everything, it's pretty amazing.
Andy Reid, if he wins another Super Bowl, that change things in how he's viewed? It pretty much, he might be a Hall of Famer now, I'm guessing, Tone?
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. If he wins this Super Bowl, I think he's a lock. How many people have won back-to-back Super Bowls? Not that many. How many people have taken two different franchises to the Super Bowl? Not that many coaches. How many people have done it for this long a period of time? And this offense that he's put together over the last, if he goes 5 more years with Patrick Mahomes, they'll put up numbers that we have never seen before. So, yeah, I think he's a lock for the Hall of Fame, but this would solidify it.
And you knew this. You were a college quarterback, and it's something we've talked about before. But, when we profiled black quarterbacks coming out of college to go into the NFL, Warren Moon threw as good a deep ball as anybody who's ever played the game, in my opinion. And he wasn't this scrambling quarterback, but he had to go to the Canadian Football League. And I don't know if Lamar Jackson has helped in the profile or Patrick Mahomes has helped in profiling, and maybe profiling is the wrong word here, but it feels like maybe reverse profiling here. Who do you think has helped that position with African Americans more as we move forward, what Lamar has done or Mahomes?
No, I think the guy who really has done the most for it is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson comes in 6 foot tall, not the big, powerful, prototypical quarterback. He moves around, he scrambles, he makes what we call off-schedule plays, and he did that and took a team to a Super Bowl. And so, yeah, Doug Williams took a team to a Super Bowl, but he's 6'4", 220, rocket arm, pocket passer. This is what we're looking for. But now here's Russell going with a completely different direction and taking the team to a Super Bowl. And I think that's what let some scouts and maybe even some coaches say, you know what, if I design some things and do what these guys can do, I can present some problems. And now you see Russell Wilson followed by Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson,
Kyler Murray,
and Kyler Murray, and defenses saying, wow, now I've got to design some specific things. I can't play all the coverages that I normally play because Lamar Jackson can take off and run 75 yards if I'm in man coverage and nobody's spying him, and giving defenses different problems. So I think it's been great to see how these guys are being utilized. And so that is not only African-American quarterbacks, but Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen's now we're seeing these type of things.
And it's always interesting when you talk to defensive players. If the frustrating part is Brady's right there, like but Frank Clark says he might just dip his shoulder a little bit, but that's even more frustrating. It feels like he's right there, and I might not be able to do anything about it. Whereas Russell or Kyler or these guys who can get out of Mahomes, Josh Allen, I don't know what would be more frustrating. I would think that the mobile guy puts more pressure on you, but as a defender, that guy's 3 feet away from me and I can't get to him.
Tom is probably more frustrating for those defensive linemen because of just what you're saying. I'm close. I'm thinking I'm getting pressure, and here the ball comes out and it's an 18-yard completion. But I'll tell you, for the coach, the John Elway, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, you do everything right. You defend the play, and you've got him squeezed in the pocket. Everybody's covered. Should be a win for the defense. And now he moves around, and Mahomes throws 55 yards across field to Demarcus Robinson. And you say, what am I going to do? And that's the frustration. John Elway used to drive me nuts. I was coaching secondary for the Chiefs, and we got plaster guys back there, Kevin Ross and Albert Lewis, and we're on guys for 8-9 seconds. And then all of a sudden he scrambles out and throws one across the field 55 yards to the tight end. And it's crazy. And you say, what are we going to do? It's just, he was impossible to defend.
Do you have a team you're picking here? Do you have to pick Tampa because you live in Tampa?
No, I'll tell you what, I'm really concerned and worried. I don't know who's going to play still. I don't know who's going to get a haircut and not be able to play in the game. And that is crazy that we still don't know exactly who's going to be out there. I'm worried about the Kansas City offensive line. I think if all things were equal, everybody's healthy, I would pick the Chiefs. But I think this line could get overmatched and it could present some problems.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I think that this game will be won by your offensive line and your defensive line, and who's able to protect and who can put pressure there. Did Brady's success put more pressure on Peyton Manning to be successful? Because a lot of times you guys would match up in the playoffs. Like, I didn't know if Peyton compared himself to Tom or everything he did was measured against Tom, and here's Tom going to more Super Bowls and what that did to Peyton.
I don't think it was that, but we did know we were going to have to beat the Patriots. That was said. So you start focusing in on them. What are we going to have to do to win these matchups? And yeah, we all wanted to go to Super Bowls, and I know Peyton wanted to go to more than Tom did, but to do that, we're going to have to beat the Patriots. So that was always our focus coming into the season.
Do you know Brady better than Belichick? Or either one?
I don't know either one really well. Tom, though, really fascinating. I, sent him a text when he came here. I said, it's going to be hard to root for you, but you're home team now, and so I'm going to have to. He sent me a text back. And then I think Shannon Sharp talked about how I ranked the quarterbacks 5 years ago or something. So that brought up a little animosity, I guess. But then I sent Tom a text of my son, Jordan, who wanted a Brady hoodie for Christmas. And I got it for him, and I sent the picture to Tom, and he laughed, and he sent Jordan an autographed jersey and, just notes to my boys. So it's been really good. It's been nice seeing him do well and have fun here in Tampa.
Wait, how did you rank these quarterbacks that it bothered Tom?
I had him at number 6. And I started out with the premise, Dan, that first of all, you can't rank them by who's the best. It's impossible to rank. My dad would say Otto Graham's the best ever. And I couldn't argue with that. How do I know between eras?
Yeah.
So I started out the piece with, I'm not going to go by who's the best. I'm going to tell you who was the most problematic for me personally preparing.
Okay.
And I started with John Elway because of just the story that I told you. And then Aaron Rodgers and Steve Young, the mobile guys who you could defend everything. And then Steve Young ran 75 yards through the whole Minnesota Vikings team, broke about 20 tackles, So I'm going to put those guys first. Now I'm going to go to my pocket passers. And, well, of course, everybody then, how can you have Tom Brady 6? He won 55 Super Bowls. And I said, that wasn't the point of it. It wasn't who won the most Super Bowls, who was the best, who was the toughest to really handle.
The best pocket passer, in your opinion, of all time is who?
Again, it's still hard to say.
Modern era. Just they were known as a pocket passer. Is Peyton better than Tom as a pocket passer?
I'm always going to go with Peyton because he was my quarterback. But I'll say this. There's some guys, Warren Moon, you talk about stand in the pocket and give somebody protection and watch the ball, just be intimidated by how pretty the ball comes out and how on target it is. We had a receiver in Minnesota, Jake Reed, who they said didn't really have great hands. Jake caught 100 passes one year because every ball was between the 8 and the 6. He didn't have to use his hands at all. And so, there's some guys who could throw some pretty balls. Randall Cunningham, it was a pretty pocket passer ball. Jeff George. So there's some guys that you wouldn't put in the top of the quarterback list, but if you said, hey, I can protect them and just watch them throw from the pocket, you'd put Jeff George with anybody.
He did throw a great deep ball, but problem is that maybe the guy on the receiving end wasn't always there.
Well, we're not talking about who he threw to, and if he threw to the other team, and if he knew where those guys were, but just pretty balls from the pocket.
Are you watching at home, or are you going to be at the stadium?
I may end up going to the game. I wanted to watch at home. My boys want to go to the game, so we're kind of fighting that battle right now, but probably going to end up at the game.
Great to see you. Tell the boys I said
Always
hello.
Good.
And
I will.
Thank you, Tone.
We got to get up and see you sometime.
Hey,
got to get up.
When you guys are doing football night in America, if you you want to come to the man cave,
post-COVID, we got to get there.
That would be great. Thank you, bud.
All right.
That's
Thanks, DP.
Tony Dungy, Hall of Famer.